Hello, my name is Chloe, welcome to my channel. Today I'm bringing to you the latest installment in the books I've unhauled lately. So I did one of these videos very recently, I believe in between like filming, editing, scheduling. It's going to be just about a month since the last time I uploaded one of these. But I managed to unhaul 48 books in 22 days. So this list was started on the 5th of September and I finished it on the 27th of September. I realise I don't clarify many things in these videos. What I do when I unhaul books is I just write them down in my notebook, and once I've finished a page in the notebook, that is when I film the video for you guys. It's not a very scientific method. However, I finished a double list in quite a big notebook within 22 days. So here we are with the video. There are a mix of reasons why I unhauled these books, but one thing that happened in September is I took a very brutal look at my shelves. I did an unhaul with my patrons live on Reading Sprints where we looked at what I'm calling Project TBR Clear Down. I will link that video in the description for you, but that is where I'm trying to get through all of the books that I don't think I will keep them after I read them for a multitude of reasons. But I went through that list and picked out the books that I didn't think I was going to get to and unhauled them. I think there were 25 total from that unhaul, and I think some of those are in my previous unhaul video. And then I also went through my red shelves and I had a very brutal look at those too, and have just gotten rid of anything that I really can't see myself rereading. Anything that was on my red shelf had already gone through a brutal consideration of whether I would reread it, and I've just taken another look of those and had a bit of a cull. I did that live on my 12-hour live show for my 7-year booktube celebration, so yeah, we did that on the live too, and I believe the vast majority of these books are from those two unhauls. If you watch both those lives though, please do stick around and see what books we've got left. The other thing I need to clarify before I start, if I hold a book up physically in this video, that means at the time of filming, which is a little bit before uploading, I still currently own this book and it will be listed on my Vinted, which again will be linked down in the description. If I'm inserting a picture of the book on the screen, that means it has already physically left my collection and I don't physically have it anymore. Starting from the beginning, we have When Women Were Dragons by Kelly Barnhill. I should have also said I won't say too much about these books because I have 48 books, so if I spend a minute on each, we will be here for 48 minutes. We don't want that. When Women Were Dragons is from the Project TBR Clear Down brutal unhaul. I just couldn't see the time where I was going to sit and read this. It's an absolutely gorgeous book. I wish I was more interested in it, but the time has been and gone. I'm also unhauling The One That Got Away by Charlotte Rickson. This is a book I picked up second hand and I just wasn't excited about it. We then have Love Lockdown by Beth Reekles. I went through a phase of collecting all of Beth Reekles' books. She is the author of The Kissing Booth. I think she's great. I met her, she's lovely. However, I don't need a COVID romance. I just don't. Then we have Something in Between by Melissa Dela Cruz. This is a YA contemporary I just never got round to, and it focuses on US immigration, which just isn't something I wanted to read about anymore. Then we have From Here to Eternity by Caitlin Doughty. This came in a box set of 3 books by this author. The 2 I have kept that I'm really excited to read. They are basically very just not abrasive, but like unapologetic looks at death through like a scientific lens. Like, one is called Will My Cat Eat My Eyeballs? The other one is Smoke Gets in Your Eyes. So I've kept those, but From Here to Eternity is more of a look at how different cultures celebrate death and mourn, and I just felt like that was a topic that I would much rather prefer to watch in like a video sense rather than read it. So one of the 3 has gone, the other 2 are firmly on my shelves because I am very interested in the topic in a non-weird way. Then we have My Heart is a Chainsaw by Stephen Graham Jones. I have read 2 books by this author and not enjoyed them, so this one I couldn't see myself making the commitment anytime soon, so I have to be brutal. Then we have 2 books, My Sweet Girl and You're Invited by Amanda J. Atisa. Something about these was not appealing to me anymore, so I just made the decision to get rid. It sounds so brutal. It is. They just weren't appealing to me. Then we have Makeup Breakup by Lily Manon, I believe. And again, this one just not appealing to me anymore. I'm pretty sure it had a very low Goodreads rating too, so I wasn't trusting it. Then we have The Bear and the Nightingale by Catherine Arden. I have heard amazing things about this book, like genuinely amazing things, but I just was not finding the time and investment to read it. It's something that I would consider listening to on audio now. I got it during the phase of everyone, like when Jade started Polathon and everyone was down for a polar fantasy. That's when I got my hands on it. I was excited to read it, but again, it's been and gone. I'm not in that mood. Then we have God Killer by Hannah Kaner, which I fully accepted, that I bought because of the cover. I have absolutely no interest in the story whatsoever. I bought it because of the cover, and then Victoria said she wanted it from what Victoria read, so I sent it her way, no issues. It was a cover buy. I didn't need it, and I was never going to read it. It's a shameful thing to admit. Then we have Balgard by Jamie Lilac, which I also bought when I was with Victoria, from what Victoria read. I got this in a little bookshop in Bristol, and it was when I was in a very Bridgerton mood. I absolutely love Bridgerton, and I've recently read Reputation by Lex Croucher, which is a Regency era YA, and I wasn't a massive fan. This is another Regency era YA, similar sounding kind of story, and it's not appealing to me anymore. If I want Bridgerton, I'll read Bridgerton. One I've had for a very long time is Lake's Edge by Lyndall Clipstone, and I bought this when I would go to a different town, like in the couple of years where I'd go to a town, I was in a bookshop, so I had to buy a book. So this was Forbidden Planet in Bristol, which I believe isn't there anymore. I was with my parents and I was like, oh, books, yay, let's buy a book. I have no interest in this really, and the idea of picking it up was daunting, so gotta go. Another one that was just, it was a time in my life where I was like, I want to read this book, and that time has now passed. We have The Life of Lee by Lee Evans. I really like Lee Evans. He's a really funny comedian. If I want to hear his story, I will happily listen to it. I don't want to physically read it anymore. Again, time's been and gone. Oh, some I have read now. We have My Heart and Other Black Holes by Jasmine Walger. I did like this, I just didn't absolutely love it. Sorry if the lighting's changed. I just got called onto a work call after my day, but it was very productive for me, so obviously I don't mind, I'm not saying that, but the filming's kind of changed a little bit. What I was saying, I don't know where I got to, so I'll start from the beginning, is the next book I have is My Heart and Other Black Holes by Jasmine Walger. This is a YA contemporary that looks at death and mental health and teenagers who are wanting to take their own life. It's very depressing, as I say with a smile, but the reason I didn't absolutely love it is I didn't think I got to know the characters enough to be fully emotional about their situation. So not a bad book by any means, but not one I need to keep and reread. And then we had A Loud Engine. It's all going wrong. The next one we have here is The Housemaid's Secret by Frida McFadden. This is book 2 in the Housemaid series, and again, I just didn't absolutely love it. The Housemaid is one of my favourite books. It's one of my favourite thrillers. I just think it's really exciting and fun and different. However, coming in with a sequel to a fun and different thriller just doesn't really work for me. You don't get that excitement and that new, like, oh my god, what's going on? So yeah, wasn't a huge fan of book 2. Then we have Chase Me by Tessa Bailey. This is not a bad book by any means. I can't remember what I rated it, but I just don't have any strong negative or positive feelings about this book. It just is. So for that reason, like, it was on my shelves as a keep me forever book, but I don't think I need it. There's a lot of Tessa Bailey's I have unhauled. I think I've only kept 1, potentially 2 now, because they're just like popcorn romances. I don't need them, so this one's going. Then we have Greek Myths by Jean Menzies. This is a book I got a little while back now, and I was so happy to get it. It was gifted, and I loved my time reading it. However, I was just looking at it thinking, this isn't a book that I need to physically, like, keep with me for the rest of my life. It's one that I can read and enjoy and promote on my channel, and then pass off into the world so that someone else can enjoy it. It's just not something that I need to keep on my shelves. I was thinking if I did, I'd have to get all of the books in this collection by the publisher, and that also wasn't something I wanted on my shelves. So I'm glad that I had my experience with this book, but I passed it out into the world. Then we have The Wish by Nicholas Sparks, which was actually a DNF for me. I got this book in Chicago airport because I wanted to buy a book, like literally it, and I DNF'd it around the 70-page mark. Wasn't exciting for me. I just didn't have the motivation to read it, so I unhauled. Then we have a 3-star book. We have Everything and the Moon by Julia Quinn. Speaking of Bridgerton, this is the author of Bridgerton, and this is book 1 of the Linden sisters duology, I think. I listened to this on audio while I was cleaning. I listened to the whole thing in one go, and I just didn't have any big feelings either way, so I don't need to keep the physical copy and read it again. Then we have Camp Slaughter by Sergio Gomez, which I gave either 3 or 3.5 stars. This is a slasher horror. Nothing bad to say about this book by any means, just wasn't one I wanted to read again, so I unhauled. Another DNF actually, we have The Double Life of Daisy Hemmings by Joanna Nadine. I think I read about 100 pages of this and I was just bored. The average rating is like a 3.2 I think on Goodreads, so I knew that if I was already bored, it wasn't going to completely amp up. Like, I just was so not committed to this, and unfortunately didn't want to carry on. I hope that it finds an audience that loves it, but that one's not me. Then we have Good Girls Don't Die by Christina Henry. This is a book I read in September and I did really enjoy it. I gave it 4 stars. However, my problem with this book was the ending. So I knew that if I read it again, I would be disappointed by the ending again because it's not going to improve. So not a bad book by any means, but it just didn't do what I wanted it to do. So I'm not going to read it again. Then we have 2 connected books. We have Love Like Farms and we have In the Weeds by B.K. Borison. These are companion books. So even though I kind of enjoyed Love Like Farms, I think I gave it 4 stars. I then gave this one 3.5. And I read the descriptions of book 3 and 4, which are still on my shelves. They're just out of shot up here. And I was like, I can read those without keeping these. And I don't know whether I will love those to the extent I keep them. But even if I do, I wasn't going to be mad for missing books 1 and 2. As it is a companion series, they do make sense on their own. Love Like Farms has already left my collection. This one I gave 3.5 stars, maybe 3 stars. And I just wasn't too excited by it, so it has to be Unhauled. Then one I actually read a long time ago. We're getting into the books now where I've gone through my shelves and I just don't need to keep these books. So we first have To Sir Philip with Love by Julia Quinn. Again, 3rd mention in this video. This is book 5 in the Bridgerton series, and although I did enjoy it, I listened to the audiobook for this one, and I've got no pull to carry on with the series or to read this one again. I have kept my physical copies of books 1 to 4. Some of those are like my favourite romances that I've read in a very long time. However, I didn't love this one as much and I don't think I would reach out for it again. So, Unhauled. These ones make me sad, but I know I'm not going to read them again, and I had to come to terms with that. Claire, I'm really sorry that I'm doing this, but I'm not going to read these again. We have Kingdom of the Wicked, Kingdom of the Cursed, and Kingdom of the Feared by Kerry Maniscalco. This is the Kingdom of the Wicked series, and I sat and read these all in one go, clearly with breaks, but I read these in order, didn't read books in between, and I had a really good time doing that. I gave all of these books between 3.5 and 4 stars. They were not an all-time, like new all-time favourite series for me. I do think they're really good, and I potentially, like, there's a little thing in the back of my brain that says I would potentially read them again. However, I'm just not like really pulled to do it. Everything that's on my keep shelves are books that I could pick up now and be like, I'm reading that again right this second. These, I'm just not getting that pull, so they're gonna go out into the world. I'm sorry, Claire. Then we have another 2 books that are connected. We have Do Not Disturb and If You Dare by A.R. Torr. These are books 2 and 3 in the, what's her name, Deanna Madden series, which is about a cam girl who has murderous tendencies. I really did enjoy books 2 and 3. I think I gave them both like 4, 4.5, maybe even 5 stars. I think 4 or 4.5. But looking at the series as a whole, I thought I want to keep book 1, but there's no pull to reread the rest of the series, and that's okay to accept. So books 2 and 3 have been Unhauled. I do recommend them. I think it's a solid series. However, I'm just going to keep and reread book 1. If the urge comes to me, I will reread book 1. One I was then keeping because I enjoyed it as a kid. I reread it, I enjoyed it again, but I don't think I need to reread it for the 3rd time. We have Lola Rose by Jacqueline Wilson. I've been very selective on the Jacqueline Wilsons that I have kept, and I just don't think Lola Rose is quite up there. It's a very solid, older middle grade, younger YA book, and I would thoroughly recommend a lot of Jacqueline Wilson's work, but I just don't think I need to carry this book with me for the rest of my life. Another middle grade, actually, we have A Place Called Perfect by Helena Duggan. This is one of my favourite middle grade books of all time, but I'm getting rid of it because I don't need to reread it, and that's okay. I have read this book twice, I believe. Yeah, I read it once for the first time and then once to read the 2nd and 3rd books in the series, which I have already unhauled, but I was keeping this one because I did really enjoy it. There's no need for me to read this book again. It's a very creepy middle grade. I would thoroughly recommend it, but yeah, I'm just not getting like a crazy pull to keep it in my life. Next up, we have Before by Anna Todd, which is the 5th book technically in the After series. It's a collection of short stories told by different characters in the After series. Some of it's before the book, some of it's during, and some of it is after. I just have no pull to read this one again. I have kept the entire After series, like After We Collided, After We Fell, After Ever Happy. I have all of those, and there's like 3,000 pages between those books. I don't need this one too. It's a little one, it's short stories. the series lives on without this. We then have The Return by Rachel Harrison, which is actually my art copy, so it's backwards. Pink sprayed edges, big fan. I read this book a while ago. I think I actually ended up giving it 3.5 stars. It was a very okay horror, but some parts of it really creeped me out and I couldn't sleep one night. So I thought for that reason I had to keep this book forever. I really don't, do I? I don't. It wasn't a 5-star favourite. I didn't absolutely love it, but part of it just freaked me out, so I was keeping it. The logic just doesn't quite add up, so it's being unhauled. Then we have Fierce Fragile Hearts by Sarah Bernard. This is book 2 in the Beautiful Broken Things series. I didn't love Beautiful Broken Things, but I loved Fierce Fragile Hearts. And I thought, no, it doesn't matter, I can just keep book 2 because I really enjoyed that and it really made me feel something. However, am I ever gonna reread the second book without reading the first book? I'm keeping first books in series and unhauling the follow-ups. I don't think the reverse makes sense. So I unhauled Fierce Fragile Hearts. I really, really do hope that everyone who gets their hands on this book absolutely loves it because I think it's fantastic. But I just can't see myself rereading book 2 without book 1. Then we have Ginger Snaps by Kathy Cassidy, which is a book I loved as a teenager. I reread it as an adult and I still really loved it. I thought it was really good. It's the same as A Place Called Perfect. I do not need to keep this book on my shelves. It's definitely got a time and a place in my life. I'm so glad I went back to it, but I'm not going to need to read Ginger Snaps again. Then we have 6 Crimson Cranes by Elizabeth Lim, and I did really enjoy this book. I think I gave it 4 stars, potentially. A beautiful book, beautiful cover, beautiful contents, but I have no pull to read this again. And whenever anyone asks about this book, I say, oh yeah, that's that good fantasy about the girl with a bowl on her head. And I feel like I've encapsulated the whole book with that statement. I don't have any desire to carry on with this series, which is why I think I need to unhaul it. I say think, it's been unhauled for like 2 weeks now. It is a pretty fantastic book, but I just don't have a desire to read it again. So it's gotta go. Then we have Haunting Adeline. I don't need to read this again. By H.D. Carlton, I should say. I'm not sure how to talk about this one on my channel, but I read this book because it's an outrageous romance, if you can call it romance. I have unhauled a lot of my outrageous romance. I will keep Den of Vipers. You will have to pry it from my cold dead hands. Den of Vipers is staying on my shelves. But Haunting Adeline, it was just like a romance that's trying to get a reaction out of you, is how I see it. I don't need to keep it. It's been sent out into the world. Somebody else already owns it and they've thanked me for it. And you know what? You knock yourselves out. I just heard some very strange things about this author as well since then. And I just don't need to keep hold of this book. I have a video. It's pretty old now, but I have a video that goes through this book in intricate detail if you want to check that out. But it's not one that I need to read again. Then we have Window Shopping by Tessa Bailey. Again, another Tessa Bailey that is a perfectly good book. This is a Christmas romance. I enjoyed it. I just don't need to read a standard Christmas romance again. I have my favourite Christmas romance still on my shelves. It's out of frame, but it is The Holiday Swap by Maggie Knox. I think it's fantastic and I will read that Christmas romance every Christmas. I don't need to keep an okay one. Sorry, Tessa. I do love some of your works. This one I'm really sad about, but I think it's the right decision. We have Shattered Veil by Eliza Modiste. This is book 3 in the Veiled series, and I read all 3. There's now 4 out, I think, or the 4th one is being written, but I read all 3 on my Kindle, and then the author sent me this book with like a goodie bag. There was a mug, some candles, like this one is signed, we have some stickers, we have a bookmark, we have some like placemats with quotes on. I really appreciated the package. I posted about it on Instagram and I've had this book on my shelves over a year now since that moment. But I thought if I want to keep this book, I need to get the other books in the series and have them all lined up. I just don't think I loved them enough to buy the books after I've already read them and display them in my forever collection, and I didn't like just having book 3. So it's being unhauled. I really hope whoever this lands with really enjoys it. It is a very, very good book, but it's just not one that I need to keep in isolation from the rest of the series. Jumping back actually to H.D. Carlton, we also have Satan's Affair, which is definitely written for shock factor. It's a little short story that takes place in the time of Haunting Adeline. It's traumatic, it's weird, it's disgusting. It was fun to read. I don't need to read it again. It's happened. We can park that. Next up we have Gallant by V.E. Schwab. This book definitely gives me Coraline vibes, and I have the gorgeous, I just hit myself with it. I think it's the Forbidden Planet edition. It's signed. I really like the aesthetic of this book. Like, this is very cool. However, Do I need to keep it? No. I didn't absolutely 5-star love it. It's fine. I think I liked the vibes more than the contents. For that reason, I don't need to hold on to it for the rest of my life. One of my favourite books of all time is Done Dirt Cheap by Sarah Nicole Lemon. However, I have 2 copies. I can't reach it, it's out of frame. This is an ARC copy that I acquired. I actually bought this book and they sent me the ARC, which is very bad. I think it was literally like eBay or even Amazon, you know. And this is a signed ARC. I'm very happy that I have this. I am very, very tempted to rip the signed page out and stick it into my finished copy. I think I'm actually gonna do that because I really do want to keep that. Sarah Nicole Lemon is so sweet. She even collaborated with my good friend Chelsea and sent a video to say well done when I hit 3,000 subscribers. She seems like such a genuine person, but I don't need 2 copies that are exactly the same. The cover's the same, it's not even a different cover for the ARC. So yeah, I don't need 2. I may steal the signed page and pop that in my full copy, but yeah. I have Done Dirt Cheap, I don't need 2 copies. Getting close to the end now, we then have The Ritual by Chantal Tessier, which is another of my very dark romances that I read to see what the shock factor was about. I get it, like I didn't hate this book. I don't need to read it again. I'm not going to continue with the series. I see why there is / was a niche of like TikTok readers going into these dark books. I get it. I don't need to read it again. Then we have City of Bones by Cassandra Clare. I definitely still have a copy of City of Bones, but I had the 10th anniversary edition and my copy was really beat up. Like there's a lot of marks on the front, stickers on the back that pulled off, and I just didn't need to keep it. So even in pristine condition, these books don't get a lot of money. Like the exclusive edition of the first book isn't that hyped. There are some of these books that it is quite sought after to get them. This isn't one of them as far as I'm aware. Like I may have made a mistake, but yeah, I have my paperback edition which matches the rest of my copies. It matches all of the Mortal Instruments and the Infernal Devices. It's the same size as the rest of my books. I don't need this one exclusive. I don't have exclusive of the rest of the series, so it can go. Almost there, we have Lights Out by Navisa Allen, which is a book I actually read in September or August. It's a very dark romance. Again, it's in the TikTok hype and I didn't need to keep it. I bought a copy in America, brought it back with me, and I read it pretty much instantly. It was fun. I think I gave it 4.5 stars, maybe even 5 stars, but I didn't need to read it again. If I do want to read it again, my mother-in-law has a copy. I'm sure she's not getting rid of hers. Even if she is, like, it's fine. I'll be able to get hold of this book. I don't need to keep it. And then last but by no means least, we have Happy Place by Emily Henry. This is like the 3rd Emily Henry book I've read, and I don't know why I keep doing it because I don't absolutely love them. Something about her writing style and her stories just doesn't quite gel with me. So I read this one in September, unfortunately didn't love it, but I did give it a go. I think I 3-starred it. No massive complaints, it's just not my thing, so it can leave my collection. There we have it. Those are the 48 books that I unhauled within the last month. I'm being very brutal with my collection and I'm actually having a really good time being brutal. I think that is it for how much I can be brutal. I'm currently working through Project TBR Clear Down that I mentioned, so most of those books are being unhauled, and I plan to have at least one more unhaul video with you by the end of the year. We'll see how that goes. It's the plan. Whether the plan will work, I'll let you know, but it's definitely what I'm intending on doing, so hold fire for that. There won't be another unhaul video quite so soon, but if I look at my list, because we're now a few weeks after me completing this list, I already have 5 more books that I have unhauled, so we'll see how that goes. Like, see how long it takes me to fill out another, what, 43 books on this list. I'm sure I can do it soon. Please do let me know if you agree or disagree massively with any of my opinions. Even if you fully disagree, I love hearing your opinions and I would be very happy to talk to you about them in the comments. For now though, that's all I have time for, so thank you very, very much for watching this video. I really do hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.